So let's talk about Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 performance in cross-gen and next-generation games. Let's look into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I would like to talk about both Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 performance in games. Now, Digital Foundry made a video the other day talking about performance of these two consoles and what is good about both consoles and what's bad about these consoles when it comes to running games, of course, technology-wise. And the funny thing is that a different group of people's actually taken this video a bit differently, in a sense that, I've seen PlayStation guys saying, oh, PlayStation 5 stomps over Xbox Series X in performance. And I've seen the same thing from Xbox guys saying that Xbox Series X stomps over PlayStation 5 in terms of performance. So same video, two different views. So I was like, okay, let me actually see that video and let's check what they really said, because hey, that's what happens when fanboys watch a video and they don't really watch it fully, and then they take whatever they want from that video and run with it, right? So obviously, as always, I will put a link in the description of this video to that video. Actually, it's a podcast, so I will actually link you to the section where they spoke about the Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 performance. And to be frank, they spoke about both what's good about PlayStation 5. So they spoke about better API, faster API basically. They spoke about the higher clock speeds, which are very good when it comes to rasterized performance. And then they also spoke about shading compilation issues on Microsoft, or maybe not necessarily issues, but apparently PlayStation is better at that. While when it comes to Xbox, they've got obviously advantage in teraflops, which is comes in very handy when it comes to next-gen games, because these next-gen games takes advantage of the power raw performance, because they need to calculate a lot of things. So basically, like lighting and certain graphics effect in like Unreal Engine games is very compute heavy. So generally speaking, when you watch this video, there wasn't any one console triumph over the other, right? They basically said that there's certain games that run better on PlayStation and there's certain games that run better on Xbox. Now, obviously, when it comes to the marketing and the whole narrative that Xbox Series X is just more powerful console, well, that doesn't just look that great when it comes to Xbox. So I guess it's a fail on an Xbox side, really, when it comes to like marketing. Although, to be fair, Microsoft has never ever said that this is the most powerful console ever. If you actually go back and actually read the marketing, they always said that it's going to be the most powerful, the best Xbox ever, right? Xbox console ever. So the marketing was a bit different when in comparison to like Xbox One X marketing, where they did say that was the most powerful console ever at the time, because it was. But I think the biggest problem with Xbox Series X right now is the fact that even though next-gen games, like a proper next-gen games based, made on our next-gen engines, like Unreal Engine, or for example, the Alan Wake 2, another game that was made on a next-gen engine. So these games actually run and just kind of performs and are better on Xbox. It's not a massive difference, by the way. So it's not like, oh, it's a huge win for Xbox finally. No, like we're talking about small changes here and there. Sometimes the the Xbox runs the game better. So, when it comes to like frame rate, so frame rate may be better. In other cases, the resolution is going to be better in the same frame rate. So, it all depends. But either way, I wouldn't actually go and sell, any of the consoles over the other because of one or two games run better on one particular console or the other, right? So I wouldn't really worry about it. But the fact of the matter is, and actually Alex spoke about it too, is that the fact that Xbox Series X has a wider architecture, that just helps when it comes to these, I say next gen, but really current gen games, right? Made running on on Unreal Engine 5, for example, right? And we've seen a number of them, and Microsoft is still paying for really like a slow start when it comes to like poorly performing games on Xbox at the very beginning of the generation. Because, it wasn't just one or two games. There was a whole bunch of games that just run better on PlayStation 5 at the very beginning of the generation. And that label kind of stuck to Xbox, right? And I don't think, they can ever shake it off, right? I mean, yes, you can, unless really something would change, and I doubt that. I don't think that's going to change because most people still have that kind of narrative from the very beginning of the generation that even though Xbox Series X is more powerful on paper, it's PlayStation 5 that actually runs these games better, right? And so, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't really lose sleep over it. It's not a PlayStation 3 situation where with PlayStation 3, some games were just terrible on that system, right? So it's sort of because sometimes I see comparisons like, oh, Xbox Series X is more powerful but doesn't really run these games that well, just like PlayStation 3 back in the days. No, that was totally different situation because at the very beginning of the generation, we are not talking about like 2 or 3 frames difference here and there. We're talking about like games running at 15 or 20 frames per second sometimes versus like pretty stable 30 on Xbox, right? So, resolution was also better on Xbox Series or on Xbox 360 back in the days. Not because it was more powerful, it was just smartly done, right? So, so I guess kudos to PlayStation, to Sony, Mark Cerny for delivering actually pretty good console. Not the most powerful when it comes to teraflops, but, what they did there as a whole package, right? Hardware, software, APIs, support for developers and that kind of stuff. They did tremendous job here, right? And also I think the fact that the cross-gen period actually got quite longer this generation, that did help PlayStation 2 because PlayStation is just faster in rasterization and that kind of stuff, right? But in general, I wouldn't really kind of lose sleep over it. These differences are so minor that you won't really notice that, right? I mean, you really need a digital foundry to show you, oh, there's few pixels more here and there, or there's 2 or 3 frames more here and there. I think that overall bigger problem with these consoles, both of these consoles, is the fact that Unreal Engine 5, which will be utilized heavily this generation, and I think even next generation too, is the fact that this is a very heavy engine. So especially when it comes to CPU. So even though both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S, all have much more powerful and capable CPUs than last generation, but still Unreal Engine 5 is so heavy when it comes to CPU that, yeah, we see that in games. I mean, obviously it got better with time, and like Unreal Engine 5.4 apparently is even better. So hopefully, as time goes by, we will see more and more games utilizing these CPUs better. But yeah, listen, at the end of the day, you know, it's either good performance or great graphics. If you want both, get yourself a PC, right? And I don't have the most powerful PC out there. You know, I've got Intel 12400F and RTX 3070. It's kind of, it's okay for now. Probably will have to upgrade it next year, but you know, it just runs all these games much better. Yes, there's some games that are just so poorly optimized even on PC, like Dragon's Dogma. I mean, it doesn't really run that well on PC either, but still better than on consoles, right? So listen, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. That's what I will say. Most people bought PlayStation 5s and they were not going to sell it anyway. You know, there's a lot of people that bought Xbox. They're not selling that either. I mean, most people won't be selling that either. I think that Microsoft's approach is not necessarily about power anymore. It's more about accessibility and the whole new strategy about like allowing people to play their games where they are, not necessarily forcing you into one particular box. So that's a totally different approach. And I know that people don't like it, but it is what it is, right? I mean, you know, you may get angry, you may, you know, scream about it, but will that change anything? Not really. So, I mean, all I would say is just enjoy games on whatever platform you like to play games on, right? Whether that's Xbox, PlayStation, PC, or via cloud on a big TV. It doesn't matter, right? As long as you're enjoying games. At the end of the day, these consoles are just tools for us to use to enjoy these games, right? And, you know, I like PCs because, like, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm more and more PC kind of gamer lately. And because at the end of the day, you know, it plays all Xbox games. It plays PlayStation 5 games now. Not all of them. Not yet. But still, you know. Yes, there's some issues with PC sometimes here and there. But overall, you know, give it a go if you've got money. Because obviously it costs a little bit more. But at the same time, you get to play all these games. So if you were to buy Xbox and PlayStation to play all these games, you may as well just buy a good PC and be done with it, right? So anyway, guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about it, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.